Hi, this is Dennis with agppro.com. In the first part of this series, we cleared the ground of all the vegetation, we leveled the ground, and laid the bottom rail out perfectly around. We leveled the rail and the foot plates, did a little more smoothing in the center area, and treated the ground. So we are ready to add the sand. Photo 9 shows a pile of sand in the driveway. This is where I find most of my sand, in the front of the house. Few homes in Arizona have backyard access for a dump truck. Finding a pile of sand near the pool area is really nice, kind of a treat. But wherever we find the pile of sand, it needs to be moved into the pool area. I only use the amount of sand needed for the size pool I'm working on. This 24-foot pool will get 15 full wheelbarrows full of sand. I would rather have a little left over in the drive than not have enough, so it's not uncommon to have a little left over. That doesn't mean I did not use enough. Photo 10 shows how I place this sand in the pool area. I do not try to spread the sand at this point, I am just getting it into the pool. I make a circle with the loads of sand, leaving a good 3 foot between the sand and the bottom rail. I don't want sand anywhere near the pool when I'm unrolling the sidewall. Sand under the wall makes it hard to unroll. Sand in the bottom track makes it impossible to get the wall in. Also in that photo is my hope of passing out all the retaining rods. They will be used to support the wall and keep it from blowing down as I put the wall into place. Depending on the pool I am building, I will either have the rods passed out or the uprights and top rails passed out. Most of the time it is the uprights and top rails. This pool, however, works better using just the rods for support. When it's the uprights and top rails, they will be assembled just after the wall is put up, and that's the support to keep it from blowing down. The sidewall is set in position and ready to start unrolling. I position the wall in the same place I want the filter location to be. This location depends on the pool, but most skimmer openings are a couple of wraps in from the beginning. A doughboy is different. The skimmer is a rail in from the end. Make sure you have located the skimmer opening before starting the process of putting it in the bottom rail. That is, of course, if the skimmer location is important to you. Most of the time it is. In photo 10, the wall is being installed. I never get more than a couple rails away from some structure, the people behind me either putting on the rods or building the framework. In this case, the rods are placed on the wall, interlocked, and taped into place. Shown in the photo is the opening for the return. The skimmer is closer to the tripod out of the photo. The tripod that is holding the wall is how I choose to do it. A person could hold it just as easy, but I would rather my people be working at something a little more constructive than holding the wall in place, so I use my tripod. Be sure to start the wall in the center of the footplate. I see pools all the time with nuts and bolts between the uprights. Who wants to look at these ugly nuts and bolts when they can be hid behind an upright? The skimmer and return openings are designed for you starting in a footplate. Not doing that runs a risk of an opening being behind an upright. That's not a good situation, and it can accidentally happen if you're not careful where you start the sidewall. Photo 12 is just me unrolling the wall and putting it into the bottom rail. The key words there are just me. I insist that no one else touch the wall. It is of no help to me. I have this down and prefer to do it by myself. I unroll a little wall and then insert it into the bottom rail. I unroll some more and do the same. If I get a little ahead of the people behind me putting the structure on the pool, I may get started spreading some sand, but I never get too far ahead of them. I never take a chance of the wind blowing the pool down. Photo 13. I am back at the beginning, but have a small problem. The wall does not meet. I'm about an inch shy of meeting up. This is pretty much usual. It's very difficult to get them exact every time. The farther apart you are from meeting, the farther you need to back the wall up and reset the bottom rail gap. Normally it's a very small adjustment on 5 or 6 foot plates, but If I am 6 inches shy or 6 inches too much, I will unroll the entire wall and reset all the gaps. Resetting the gaps of only 2 or 3 foot plates would cause the pool to become out of round. You really want a round pool, so back the wall out and reset the bottom rail gaps. I mentioned on page 1 of the series that there are a couple things you do not know for sure. It is usually trial and error, and the instructions are seldom very helpful. They may tell you a little bit about the gap of the bottom rail, but that's about it. Always check the instructions, just to be sure. But you never know the exact radius of the pool, and you never know the exact bottom rail gap, so you kind of have to guess. They are both related. You guess on the correct gap, set the radius accordingly, only to install the wall and find out you were wrong. It's frustrating when it happens, but don't get so frustrated that you rush this step. Remove the wall and do it right. The gaps between rails all need to be the same, and the bottom rails need to be round. After a few adjustments, in this case they were minor adjustments on several foot plates, the wall fits the way it should in photo 14. It is exactly in the center of the foot plate and aligning perfectly. I now insert a screwdriver in the bottom hole and wiggle the hole alignment perfect. Leaving the screwdriver in place, I go to the top and install the first nut and bolt. Normally I work alone down as far as I can reach the holes, installing the nuts and bolts. I then hand the washers and the nuts over to my helper, who helps me finish the wall nuts and bolts from outside the pool. We leave them all loose until they are all installed. A drill on the outside will tighten all the nuts while I hold the inside bolts with a screwdriver. The wall is connected and secured, and the top is secure. The next photo, 15, is me throwing a cove. Throwing is probably the wrong word. I am very carefully placing a large shovel full of sand against the wall, one next to the one in front of it. Keeping this cove uniform helps a lot when it comes to smoothing it out when doing the final grade. Be careful to gently lay the sand against the wall. You do not want the wall moving and the pool becoming out of round. Before I begin spreading out the sand, I give the ground one more good raking. I smooth out any rough areas caused by unrolling the wall. I work the area between the sand and the pool wall itself, pushing anything loose over top of the bottom rail. Whenever possible, it's nice to have a small layer of dirt over the bottom rail before you put the sand down. The next photo, 16, is me continuing to go around in circles. I am laying down a secondary cove, smaller than the first one, but I'm still placing a shovel full of sand in a certain area, this time just a little more spread out to make it smaller. I continue circles until all the sand is spread out. The more even the sand is spread out, the easier it is to smooth. 2 or 3 people in the pool with different styles and whatnot will usually leave a mess. I prefer doing this by myself. Going on to photo 17, I am using the backside of a rake to give the whole area a once-over. To reiterate, the smoother the sand is spread, the easier it is to go over it with the rake and even it all out. In photo 18, I go over the whole area once again with a soft push broom. Working this push broom correctly creates a base as shown in photo 19. This is a smooth base ready for a sprinkle of water to activate the grass killer, and then it's time to install the liner. Once the sand is smooth, I hop out of the pool. The liner is installed from the outside of the pool and the base remains smooth. You may have noticed I switched to an oval pool in the last photo. It was just a good photo of a smooth base. This is the base I leave all my customers with. In the next set of photos, we will be installing the liner and finishing the pool. If all things have been done correctly up to this point, finishing the pool will be that much easier.